The reason of the scarves, a sea of red and white at the minute. Pitch looks immaculate, Ian. It was dry before we came in, but the sprinklers on, so the surface looks perfect, and it's all set up now for, you know, hopefully a very exciting game of football.
Aston Villa break from their team huddle that is booed by the Olympiacos supporters. It's a European journey that started in Edinburgh back in August for Aston Villa. We know it will end in Greece. The question is, will it be in the port city of Piraeus, or will it be in the final in Athens later this month? Aston Villa will be playing from left to right as we look. Olympiacos in their red and white striped shirts and red shorts as Villa get us underway. Olympiacos with that 2-goal lead from that very exciting first leg as the ball goes back to Martinez. Fortunis with the press, Douglas Luiz, and a cacophony of noise with the whistles as Villa play the ball around at the back. Get used to that. I think we'll have ringing in our ears when we try to get to some sleep later on because of the atmosphere that we're experiencing here inside the Karaiskakis Stadium as Iborra has gone down early.
That was impressive from Villa, nice and calm, even though I didn't expect it, but Olympiacos are going for them in. I mean, there was a really high press. They went after the back four, they went after Martinez, but Villa were very calm and played their way out very nicely, so interesting start.
Iborra is okay. He spoke so well yesterday, full of admiration for Unai Emery. Unai Emery, who had so much success with Sevilla and Villarreal in the Europa League, and that success was matched by Iborra, who was integral as a midfielder, as McGinn plays the ball out to Bailey. Bailey's the one on the right-hand side, and they're going to try and attack Keeney at every opportunity, I'm sure, who's playing out of position. But it is he, the 34-year-old right-back, playing on this left-hand side with the throw. Flicked on, Chiquinho with a shot. It was an opportunity for him, right-footed, but it was off target, didn't even hit the side. Netting goal kick to Aston Villa.
Yeah, came off the head of Diego Carlos and just, you know, felt lovely for Chiquinho, but the angle was too tight. He was never going to beat Martinez from that angle, but early warning sign, and again, you know, Olympiacos are right up in Villa's faces at the minute.
Here is Diego Carlos just trotting his way forward very calmly. Plays it back to Emi Martinez, who actually brings the ball out of his penalty area and then plays it short to Carlos, back to Martinez. Again, he's forward of the D. Pau Torres turns away from the challenge on that far side and now runs forward and then plays the ball back to Martinez. Very composed start from Aston Villa in this ear-piercing surroundings of the Karaiskakis Stadium. Diego Carlos, but they can't beat that high press from Olympiacos. They're getting louder, the boos and the whistles. It's increasing.
Yeah. It's because Villa are trying to take the sting out of it, and they've worked it brilliantly, and you know, from side to side. Even though Olympiacos are trying to press high, they've played their way through the press brilliantly.
Here is Cash. Cash forward, gets the return ball back on the right-hand side, and then just coming across was David Carmo, and he concedes the corner kick, and all of a sudden there'll be that apprehension now rather than the energy and all the excitement that has greeted the supporters ahead of kick-off inside this stadium. Aston Villa, 3.5 minutes played. 4-2 down from the first leg. Corner kick on the right-hand side. The German referee has noticed a little bit of pushing and shoving. We're actually parallel with the penalty area to the left of the halfway line, so we're looking a long way now towards our right-hand side. 1,600 Aston Villa fans are tucked away in the corner. You can see them, you certainly can't hear them. Corner kick for Villa on the right. Played towards Diaby, right corner of the area. Back towards Diaby, tried to clip it in, blocked. Ball's going to go out of play. No, it isn't. It'll be kept in play by Bailey on this right-hand side. Infield, Douglas Luiz just pops up a little bit for him, under control. Back out to Bailey once again, level with the penalty area. Douglas Luiz midway through the Olympiacos half. John McGinn trying to lose his marker Chiquinho, who slips. Passes the ball towards Diaby. Pass the ball to the left corner of the area. In it goes towards Watkins. Tightly marked by Carmo. Heads it behind for a corner.
What a header from Carvo. It's, again, brilliant football from Villa. Go from one side of the pitch to the other. McGinn does a little pirouette, gets away, and it's actually Diego Carlos who finds himself left-hand side of the box. Puts in a brilliant ball. Watkins is there, but Carvo just gets in front, and that's a goal-saving interception.
24-year-old Angolan international, 6'5", certainly used that height to good effect. Aston Villa have a corner far side to left, playing from left to right. Douglas Luiz waits to take it. It's an in-swinger, and it's gathered in by Solakis, the 21-year-old goalkeeper who's established himself now as the number one here for Olympiacos. And at 6'4", that was a comfortable take, all in yellow.
Yeah, it was disappointing delivery from Luis, but a brilliant start from Villa, really composed. You know, this is the first spell of possession that Olympiacos have had.
Cash, his header is picked up. Ball played early.
He's miles off him.
Towards El Kaabi, but he was offside. Scored his first hat-trick for the club, and what a time to score it. He's had a terrific season, the Moroccan international. 31 goals in his 45 appearances since he arrived from Qatar and Al Sadd, and took his goals ever so well, and he will be a real threat. But Martinez has the ball at his feet almost midway through the Olympiacos half.
This is interesting now, they're not pressing now. You know, initially they were going for it, and because Villa played through them a couple of times, they've stopped. They've gone a little bit deeper, making it easier for Villa to play through them now. It's a good start from Villa, I have to say. Really impressive.
Here is Diaby inside the centre circle. Cash is forward on this near right-hand side. Cash lets the ball settle, level with the area. Back then to Konsa. Plays it along the ground towards Cash. Back with the England international. McGinn is available in field. Here is McGinn onto his left boot. Hoists it out towards that far side. Digne is on that left. Infield towards Diaby with his back to goal. Shields it away from his marker. Infield now towards McGinn. Rebounds off Bailey, and then Iborra will play it back towards Solakis, and he clears the keeper, and the header from Konsa, and Villa are back in possession. They've certainly had a lot of the ball in these opening 7 minutes, 0-0.
Yeah, they're definitely dominating possession. They've started really well, they're all at it. This is what I was hoping for, you know, they're playing with not a freedom, but real good concentration. And you can hear the noise around the stadium because they're booing because Villa have all the ball at the minute, and they're making inroads as well.
As the ball is hit long by Diego Carlos, but that's a little wayward, and it will go all the way through to the Olympiacos goalkeeper. Well, here we are in Greece, the birthplace of mathematical principles, and with that in mind, the equation, remember, is that Aston Villa have to score at least 2 goals. Anything other than that, and Olympiacos will be celebrating a first ever final of a European competition. They were the first Greek club last month to win the first UEFA competition when Olympiacos beat Milan 3-0 in Neon in the UEFA Youth League. But in senior competition, only Panathinaikos, some 53 years ago, are the only Greek side to have ever reached a European final. Aston Villa, of course, are waiting for their first European final in 42 years. So regardless what happens, we're going to witness a momentous night for one of these two clubs. 8 minutes played. Aston Villa have made a patient but confident start. Cash was caught by Keeney, the 34-year-old defender, and Aston Villa will just take their time, and Unai Emery with his grey slacks, his black pumps, his white shirt and his black sweater on this sultry evening in Piraeus, very, very relaxed. He doesn't look at all rattled or panicking.
Just looks like he's watching a kids game. You know, he's got the hand in the pocket, he's giving out a few instructions, but his body language is strong. Again, brilliantly, they played through the press again.
McGinn rolls away from Chiquinho. They release Cash. Cash now towards Bailey. Bailey right-hand side of the penalty area. Bailey waits, cuts in field, edge of the box, still looking for an opportunity. Passes the ball. Douglas Luiz couldn't get there. for Tunis was running back, and he will try and run it clear. But Aston Villa at the minute have won the ball back once again and are the better side. They're on top. Chiquinho might have had the first opportunity of the game that he hit wide, but Aston Villa are the ones who are keeping the ball much better. Here is Pau Torres. Every outfield player is in the Olympiacos half. Digne, forward, left-hand side. Diaby enters the box. Diaby just couldn't get it past Carmo, and Olympiacos will bring it away through Rod Knight. But you can feel the nerves, can't you, whenever Aston Villa are attacking, as the ball is switched, long diagonal. Podence picks it up on the left for Olympiacos, enters the penalty area. McGinn cuts it out, back towards Podence, still inside the box. Podence waits for the overlap. Kini, step forward! El Khabi! Lift off in Piraeus for Olympiacos! Because very much against the run of play. 10 minutes in, the all-important first goal has been scored by Olympiacos. It's the hat-trick hero from last week, and Olympiacos now are dreaming. Everybody's up and out of their seats. Olympiacos have made the start they only could have dreamt of, the start they craved for, and here they are leading by a goal to nil.
Yes, the high line again. It's a diagonal switch of play. Podence makes a deep run, gets beyond Konza, and then Kini sees the opportunity to come and do the overlap. I mean, they got lucky. You know, McGinn cut out the first cross. It goes back to Podence, and then by that stage, Kini can come and join in. Does a little overlap, slides it across, and I don't know where Pau Torres is. The ball's gone past Pau Torres, and the big man, El Khabi's got an open goal, taps it into the net. Totally against the run of play. Pau Torres misses the cross, and it's a gift for El Khabi. So, well, it is what it is, Ian. They've got to score 3 goals now just to make it the extra time.
The outright top scorer now in the Conference League with his 9th of the campaign. His 12th goal in Europe overall. The most by an Olympiacos player in their European history. And they've played over 350 games in European competition. And now they are really starting to dream that they will be taking on Fiorentina on May the 29th in the AEK Arena here in Greece. We're in Piraeus. It's 5 miles southwest of Athens. The best supported club in Greece, and they will be making, as it stands, that short trip to one of their rivals' homes, because everybody now is celebrating. Villa had made such a good start as well, Neil.
Yeah, they've made a great start, and they just got undone with this. Again, the high line. Podence made a clever run. McGinn did brilliantly to cut back the initial cross, but when it came back to... Is it again, is it? When it came back to Podence, he was able to hold it up for Kini to make the overlap. But I still need to see Pau Torres again, his body position. I thought he could have cut the cross out. I don't know if he's missed it or it's gone past him. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh on him.
Funny that we were talking about Kini being a potential weak link as a right back playing on the left hand side, and there he is getting forward with the assist for the opening goal. Douglas Luiz scoops it forward. I still think though a goal for Aston Villa will still have the ability to rattle Olympiacos, and here is Diaby trying to get forward, and then Carmo goes to ground inside the penalty area, and the German referee will give a free kick. This game is going to finish close to midnight local time. To say that they will party long into the night is literally no exaggeration.
I think they'll be partying the next Sunday. There's no question. They're enjoying themselves at the minute. You just think, is there another twist in this game, in this tie? You know, I do think Villa have got goals on them, and I do think that they've played pretty well so far. Just got done by a bit of bad luck, really, you know, with the rebound of the cross coming back to Podence, and maybe Pau Torres slipping. But that happens in football. What they've got to do is have a quick response if they can. Try and get it at least equal in the game to half-time.
Neil Lennon, a runner-up with Celtic in the UEFA Cup back in 2003. And here we are live on 5 Live, BBC Sounds, in Piraeus, where Olympiacos are leading by a goal to nil on the night, and are now leading 5-2 on aggregate. And El Kaabi with his prolific season, his 32nd goal of this campaign. Solakis was out of his penalty area very, very quickly to clear it away long downfield. Pau Torres. Infield, Diego Carlos. Waiting, almost coming to a standstill as he passes the ball to Torres. Digne has gone on ahead of him on that left-hand side. Diaby's come in field. Iborra with a little flick header there. Talk about Unai Emery's success at Sevilla and Villarreal. A fantastic competitor and a fantastic man, were the words of Unai Emery yesterday to describe Vicente Iborra, the 36-year-old. He had that spell at Leicester, one of Neil's former clubs. He is looking for further European glory. And Olympiacos, with Fiorentina waiting, have got the all-important goal.
I remember Iborra at Levante back in the day, before he even, came to the UK. He was very much a Busquets type, that big, tall number 6, and he's had a fabulous career since then. Like that, I'm going back maybe 9-10 years ago. You think of Villarreal, Sevilla, and Leicester as well. He's a quality player, and he's still going strong at this level.
Only made 37 appearances during his time at Leicester in 2 years after they bought him for £15 million. As Douglas Luiz comes forward, Digne tries to play an early ball towards Diaby. That was blocked. Out of play, it goes for a throw. It's not just in the end away towards our left-hand side where they're bouncing up and down in unison. There are pockets away from the ultras end where supporters are just getting hold of each other, arms around the shoulders and just bouncing up and down, ready to celebrate. They'll be absolutely shattered with all of the energy they're expending in this game. They'll be physically drained, but they are leading. As McGinn, his ball cut out, easily cut out as well. Ball played forward by Fortunis, looking towards El Kaabi, but Aston Villa have the ball back once again. Made a lot of mistakes in the first leg, too many according to Unai Emery, and that was sloppy.
From McGinn there? Yeah, it was, yeah. The ball was on, but he just didn't get the pass right. But I think they can get a bit of joy down this side, this left-hand side. Rooney, he's defending very deep, and he's allowing Digne to make a lot of ground going forward. Just get that little combination going with him and Diaby, and they could get in on that left-hand side.
Diego Carlos. They haven't really attacked a great deal on the right-hand side. Ball played in field towards Bailey. Cleared away by Keeney, the left-back. Just skied it really with his a clearance. And then Fortunis running back will play a ball in field, and there is Iborra. I mean, he's a big unit, big frame of a guy. Good ball through though to Chiquinho. Now out towards Podence, and Podence quickly comes in off the left touchline. Scoops the ball forward towards El Kaabi, running back, cleared on the volley by Pau Torres. Needed to get there too.
Yeah, good cover from Pau Torres. Lovely play from Olympiacos. Great ball from Iborra into Chiquinho, who released Podence, and lovely little chip ball. El Kaabi pulled away, but Torres just got back in time to nick it. Otherwise he was in.
Iborra lifts it forward. Chiquinho in an offside position. Free kick to Aston Villa, who trailing on the night by a goal to nil here on 5 Live.
It worries me the offside. I know they catch a lot of teams out, but you only need to get it wrong once in, and you're going to get punished. And it's happened already with Podence making the late run for the goal. And they got done in Villa Park as well. It's just a facet of the game that I always think there's a jeopardy to it.
Here is Cash. That's the voice of Neil Lennon with us here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Concert in field to Diego Carlos. Goes square back towards Concert. And then Olympiacos are willing to try and close down Aston Villa. The boos and the whistles because Villa are in possession once again. Pau Torres, but they're not really going anywhere at this stage. As here is Diego Carlos. Unai Emery still pointing. Still trying to get his instructions across to his players, but well organised at the moment. And then as El Kaabi goes to try and press Diego Carlos, there was nobody working on Pau Torres, who was able to clear the ball away downfield. Consa now picks it up for Aston Villa. Little ball up towards Bailey. Controls it on this near side, the right. Bailey delivers the cross over the head of Watkins. Picked up by Digne, left-hand side of the penalty area. Digne looks for a shooting opportunity. On the stretch, cleared, out of the penalty area. Only as far as McGinn, plays it towards Diaby. Challenged by Rodney, break now maybe on for Olympiacos, up towards the goal scorer. El Kaabi just takes it back and drops back inside his own half as Olympiacos are playing from right to left as we look, and then Solakis, the keeper, sweeps it away high downfield. I know they now need to score 3 goals just to force extra time, providing they don't concede again. But I still think that Aston Villa could make this tight interesting.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, you know, like I say, get one before half-time, and it's as you were, need 2 goals to take it to extra time, and they're patient enough. And I do think there's plenty of space down the left-hand side for Digne. It's definitely a good outball, and maybe down both flanks eventually, but certainly Digne is getting plenty of room down there. It's just all about the delivery at the end of it.
Here is Concert. McGinn, midway through the Olympiacos half. Douglas Luiz, Bailey comes inside. Cash creates the width on this near side, the right. Back towards Concert. Concert's wanting Cash to go a little bit further towards the touchline at the minute. They've doubled up on Cash as well, and they're playing in front of Olympiacos. They have to go back towards Concert. Emery acknowledges Cash and just says it's fine. Raises his right hand. The whistles and the boos are increasing. Douglas Luiz, Olympiacos have dropped off. Douglas Luiz leaves it for Pau Torres. Trailing by a goal to 0 on the night. 5-2 down on aggregate. McGinn invites Concert to join the attack. Almost right corner of the area. Cash to Concert. Infield. Trying to find a way through. Douglas Luiz now, 25 yards out from goal. Infield. Bailey with a shot. Slips. And it's gathered in by the goalkeeper.
Yeah, it's good play again. It's patient. Yeah, you're right. Everything is in front of him. Again, there was a ball on. Like, Fortunis doesn't want to defend him. And there's many opportunities. You know, Digne's running off the back. If they can just get him in with a quicker ball, he'll be beyond the Olympiacos back 4. But yeah, good play again, but you know, squeezed out by Olympiacos there. But they've been patient. They need to keep playing, keep working, keep probing, and making sure that they keep the door shut at the back now.
Mendilibar and Unai Emery met 13 times in La Liga. Emery won 7. Mendilibar on 4 occasions. Of course, he'll be claiming last week as well. Olympiacos only a 4th win on English soil. The previous 3 were all against Arsenal. And they followed up that fine 4-2 victory with a 1-0 lead here now as we approach the midway point of the first half on BBC Radio 5 Live. Saturday's 5 Live Sport, incidentally, talking of cracking atmospheres, we're at Parkhead for the Old Firm Celtic Rangers, 12:30 kickoff. West Ham Luton at 3, Nottingham Forest Chelsea at 5:30. There are commentaries just on Saturday, as the relegation berths may well be filled. It could be a defining day regarding the drop from the Premier League on Saturday. And on the Sunday, Women's FA Cup final live, Tottenham Hotspur against Manchester United. And then at 4:30 at Old Trafford, Manchester United against Arsenal, also live on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. But we're watching the last remaining club from England in European competition this season, and Aston Villa, as it stands, are heading out. But Douglas Luiz sweeps the ball first time, out towards Digne. Had to go back a couple of yards. He's midway through the Olympiacos half. Diaby is in field. Douglas Luiz now once again. McGinn, the Aston Villa captain. Podence has a little kick at him as the ball is played forward now to Digne. Sliding cross comes in, and it was Retsos who turned the ball behind for a corner kick.
Told you, he's getting in there, Digne. McGinn finds him a beautiful ball in behind the fullback. It slid across, but great defending. Had to make it, or Watkins was there for a tap-in. Again, really good play from McGinn. Rolls his man Podence and then slips it in behind for Digne. Good chance, that.
Douglas Luiz to take the corner. Far side the left. Lifted in, flicked on. Comes out towards Diaby. Leaves it now for Douglas Luiz. Back towards Diaby. Douglas Luiz once again left-hand side. Rolls it back. Digne's first-time cross goes deep. Watkins peels off the far post. Shoots left-footed. A couple of deflections off 2 Olympiacos defenders. Watkins cuts it back. Bailey with a left-footed shot. That was blocked. Olympiacos defending well. Loose ball picked up by Fortunis, who now will run forward, but he's stopped by his opposite number 7. And McGinn now comes forward for Aston Villa. McGinn to the edge of the area. Side onto goal. Leaves it towards Diaby. Back with Pau Torres. Douglas Luiz shoots low, and along the surface it's saved by the goalkeeper Solakis.
I thought John McGinn did brilliant to win the ball back off for Tunis, but then he delayed it. I thought he was going to hit it, or else played Diaby in early, and he just took that one touch too many. Anyway, it's worked back to Luiz. He has a 25-yarder, but it's comfortable for the goalkeeper. But again, is he onside?
A long ball play. Yes, he is offside against Alcarvi.
Yeah, promising signs for Villa. They're knocking on the door. You know, at the minute, Olympiacos, they're dropping off. They've got the goal, obviously, but they know that they can't press Villa because Villa are playing through them. But they're having plenty of the ball again. They just need to shut the door. I think a goal's coming in.
Well, if Neil Lennon says a goal is coming, then believe him. Because I tell you what, having been in your company for 24 hours, if you told me to put numbers on the lottery this weekend, I don't do the lottery, I believe you. Because we were watching the Real Madrid game last night, and you said Real Madrid will score. Yeah. Right at the end, they scored. You've been talking about Digne.
I didn't think they'd get two though, man.
No. You said about Digne, and that's what you've been talking about. This mystic presence.
It might be something that it's the only thing I know what I'm talking about, really. But no, I just feel that there's a goal in this for Villa. Just with the way they're playing at the minute, they're opening up Olympiacos, and there's loads of space, both down flanks.
The ball is hit high. Cash on the slide, kept the ball in play with an outstretched right leg. It only presented it to Olympiacos, who played it downfield. Here is Concert. The possession stats I don't have to hand, but I bet you they'll weigh heavily in favour of Aston Villa. 26 minutes played, but they are trailing by a goal to nil.
Yeah, they've dominated the possession. I have to say, Olympiacos have defended the box well, Ian. You know, there was a flurry of shots there from Watkins and Bailey. They defended it brilliantly. But again, I don't think they've got the quality Olympiacos, as you can see there, that Villa have. They just need to get the goal. Get them in at half-time. Oh, we've got a chance here, no?
Watkins rolls away from his man well. He's got Digne up in support. Watkins will carry it to the left corner of the area. Digne on that far side. Watkins makes his way in, and the looping header dropping away was from Leon Bailey, and it was off target. It will be a goal kick for Olympiacos, who lead by a goal to nil. I'm not surprised at those stats from our producer Gary. 76% in favour of Aston Villa. Yet, in terms of the chances that they've created, haven't tested the keeper enough, would you say?
Not enough, although there's been some really good defending. You know, you think of the Curva header and the Red Sauce interception as well. So again, you know, I wouldn't say slowly, they're getting well on top here, Villa, but they just need to be careful of this high line.
So Solakis with the goal kick, flicked on by Alcarvi. That will run out of play for a throw to Aston Villa. In recent games, and there's been a lot of talk about Villa and they're looking fatigued, only once in their last 6 away games have they scored more than 1 goal, and that was the 2-0 victory at Arsenal. But this has been a long campaign for them. It's their 54th game tonight, and crucially as well, Olympiacos didn't play at the weekend.
Yeah, I think that's a real unfair advantage that some foreign teams get over the British teams. You know, they'll be fresher anyway. You know, Villa had a really difficult game away at Brighton. Got to get themselves ready again. I know people say, "Oh, give over." It's part of the game and that, but yeah, these other countries give themselves a chance, or a better chance. Sorry.
Bailey and Watkins, there was half an opportunity. It seems like they went for the same ball and got in each other's way. Pau Torres with the interception. Ball is back now with Hesse in the midfield. We got that 4th goal deflected off the back of Consa last week, and Esse now passes the ball to Retsos. Had that brief loan spell at Sheffield United. The end away towards our left with the incessant chanting. I think there's a drum in there too, as well, as the ball is played back by Torres to Martinez. Here is Diego Carlos, turns away from Alcarvi, and back with Martinez once again as we're approaching the half-hour mark, and Aston Villa are still trailing on the night by a goal to nil, and they're 5-2 down on aggregate.
Apart from the goal, you know, have Olympiacos really done anything in the game?
Had the effort from Chiquinho.
Well, it wasn't half
snatched
chance.
At it, didn't he?
But apart from that, I know, and it's a big moment in the game, I get that. But Villa are dominating.
Ball lifted forward, flick on by Watkins.
Oh!
now was on the edge of the penalty area. Diaby gets the shot away, referee's given a free kick. To credit the German referee, Felix Weyer, he did play the advantage. There was an opportunity for Diaby. It was Bailey who was taken out on the edge of the area, and this is going to be a free kick. It was a clattering challenge as well. I mean, he'll do well to actually get up. Will Leon Bailey, because he'll have a dead leg from the challenge of Esse.
Yeah, it's knee on knee, isn't it, almost, or certainly into the... Oh, that looks sore. It's a definite free kick. It's a pity it wasn't a yard further towards the goal. That would have been a penalty. Great little interplay again from, I think it was Cash, flicked it inside to Bailey. He just nicks it away, it gets taken out. But Diaby, the ball was running away from him. The keeper comes out and saves it. Brilliant refereeing, I have to say, because he has pulled it back and it was the right decision.
That was Rodney who's made the challenge, and the right back for Olympiacos has been shown a yellow card. He's a Brazilian right back, joined in December 2022, speaking to Douglas Luiz as well. But Bailey will certainly have a dead leg, have limited options as well on the bench, because the injuries have been mounting up for this season for Aston Villa.
See, that's the goal we're just seeing again, and I do think Pau Torres can do a little bit better there, Ian. Maybe again, he's on the stretch, but he has to get something on the cross. It leaves a dolly for El Khaby to tap in. Now this free kick, it's central. Who would be on this? Luiz? Digne?
Yeah, Digne. Seen him score a number of goals with his left foot.
I always think
it's quite central, isn't it?
Yeah, I always think these are really difficult. It's right on the 18-yard line, and it's centre of the goal. I just wonder, will they move it? Just trying to see if Austin McPhee's out of the dugout, because he's the set play coach, but he's not at the minute. Emery's having a bit of a word with the fourth official as well. He's not happy about something. Well,
at least Bailey is back on his feet, but he's hobbling heavily for what was a hefty blow. Douglas Luiz is certainly having a look at it. There's a number of takers there. Everybody's involved. Olympiacos now are going to try and get a wall in place for Solakis, their goalkeeper. It's inside the D, but it's central. We've been playing for 32 minutes here in Piraeus, where Olympiacos lead by 1-0. Douglas Luiz, I think, is the one who's eyeing it up. Watkins is there, McGinn is there. How many's in the wall? 5 in the wall. Somebody in the draft excluder role behind it. And still the physio hasn't left the field of play. Of course, he'll probably have to leave the field, will Leon Bailey. Not moving at all well at the moment.
It's really sore, that, when you get kneecap on kneecap. It might even be the inside of the knee, the medial side, which could be really painful. But he's up on his feet anyway. He's not gone off just yet, Ian. Got Carlos and Torres, and Cons is now going to join the wall as well.
So we've got Watkins, McGinn. 3 Villa players have tagged themselves on the end of the Olympiacos wall. So the 3 takers are Watkins, McGinn, Digne is there as well. Douglas Luiz, in fact 4. They're still having a right old conflab. Looks like it might be teed up here for McGinn. German referee appears happy. Olympiacos have everybody back inside the wall. McGinn now walks once again. Digne, the quartet are still talking.
I don't know if they're talking to the referee, or they're having a go at the referee, because the Olympiacos players in 10 yards from the ball.
I just wonder whether they're trying to create a little bit of confusion.
Absolutely, it's good.
Now they all walk away, but this could be anybody. Digne from the right, Douglas Luiz from the left, John McGinn from behind. Watkins has moved away. Olympiacos lead by 1-0. It's Douglas Luiz, right-footed, over the top of the crossbar, and the cheers will tell you that was off target. Olympiacos 1, Aston Villa 0, 11 minutes to go to half-time.
It's such a difficult thing to do, get it up and over a big wall like that in such a condensed space of area.
Atalanta are leading Marseille by 1-0. Ademola Lookman has got that goal for the Italian side. It was 1-1, remember, from the first leg. Last night, of course, the semi-final in this competition was played. It finished Bruges 1, Fiorentina 1, and so last year's runners-up will be heading to Athens for the final on the 29th of May. 11 minutes to go to half-time. They might be pleased to see Aston Villa knocked out and not face another side in claret and sky blue after losing to West Ham in Prague last year. Unai Emery might be looking to try and still change that with 10 minutes remaining of this first half. Keeney to take the throw. Midway through the Aston Villa half, playing from right to left as we look. They lose the ball. McGinn caught late. Referee will give the free kick.
He's playing well, McGinn. He's won a lot of tackles. He's prompting a lot of attacks. Looks nice and strong in there. But yeah, going back to the free kick, it was a disappointing end to it, you know. And I always feel with those, sometimes you just have to move it and hit it hard, you know, rather than try and get it up and over the wall in such a short area.
Martinez out of his goal. Carlos McGinn tries to roll away from Esse. Plays it to this near side. Concert. Podence was closing him down. Back towards McGinn. Esse following him. And now Fortounis will run towards goalkeeper Martinez, who hits it long downfield. Watkins directs his header towards Diaby. And Rodney was back there, the right back, towards Solakis, the keeper. Back out towards the Brazilian defender for Olympiacos. Hits it early down the line. There was Pau Torres on the halfway line. Plays it forward, Douglas Luiz. And the referee will say that that will be a free kick to Aston Villa, about 6-7 yards inside the Olympiacos half. Here on 5 Live with less than 10 minutes to go to the break. Olympiacos lead by 1-0. Here is Douglas Luiz. McGinn now, just outside the centre circle. Concert collects that square ball, passes it forward. Cash near side the right, a few yards in from the touchline, back towards Concert. Olympiacos, with the exception of El Kaabi, have got everybody behind the ball. What a momentous night this would be for Greek football. And no longer would Panathinaikos have those bragging rights of being the only Greek side to reach a European final. As Concert comes forward, Bailey, edge of the area, tries to play a short forward ball, slip it in towards the path of Watkins, but it's picked up by the keeper.
Yeah, he's not looking great. He's just moving around a little bit gingerly at the minute, Ian. And it's all a little bit sort of in front of Olympiacos. They're defending really organised and curtailing everything of Villa here. They come again on the counter.
Podence keeps the ball in play, pulls it back. First time shot! Spilled by the goalkeeper initially to keep out the effort from Fortounis, but then Martinez grabbed the ball back at the second opportunity, just as El Kaabi thought of gobbling that one up.
Yeah, good player from Podence. Good little player, isn't he?
Yeah, he
Smart,
is.
You know, technically brilliant. Picks out Fortounis on the edge of the box. So it's a big side foot. He lets the ball run across his body and then, you know, opens it up, and big side foot, but pretty comfortable save from Martinez.
Here is Cash. He was tripped. That'll be a free kick. Podence is on loan from Wolverhampton Wanderers, so they actually signed him from Olympiacos for just under £17 million. And has got a good record as well of playing against the Villa. He's only lost 1 of his 5 previous games against them. Scored during that time as well in a 1-1 draw 2 years ago. And he's looking to extend that excellent record with Olympiacos, having a slender lead here in Piraeus with 7 minutes to go to half-time. Free kick then to Aston Villa.
This is Austin McPhee out again, organising. They're pretty, like a great variety on the set players. I've watched them a lot this season. It's just all about getting the delivery right now, and obviously they work hard on these set plays. Be a great time to score a goal.
Certainly would. 7 minutes to go to the break. They need an equaliser on the night. McGinn to take the free kick. Carmo, he must have come off a Villa player. He threw himself at the head. It was Diego Carlos who's got the last touch behind for a goal kick to Olympiacos.
It's just a little bit behind Carlos. Ollie Watkins is really frustrated because if it goes over his head, he's got to tap it again. He's just arriving in at the far post, so but Carlos has to go for it. But again, it's been, I don't know if Emery, I think he'd be pleased with the way the team have played. He'll not be happy with the scoreline or the fact that, you know, they haven't, you know, scored yet. But in terms of dominating the ball and dominating the game, they're in charge, but they need the goal now, Ian.
Well, Diaby's popped up on the right-hand side, skips away from one challenge, cuts the ball back, and it was turned behind for a corner kick. That all came, the goal kick, the referee said it's come off the heel of a Villa player, and they've taken the goal kick quickly. Now in that situation, for me, I'd let them play on. If Solakis has looked to try and take a quick goal kick, I wouldn't give him a second opportunity if the first one's wasted.
I know, but to be honest with you, I agree with you. But how he can give that a goal kick is beyond me. It was a clear corner. You know, I don't know what he's seen there.
Another goal kick then, as the red and white scarves are being swirled around the heads of the Olympiacos supporters. They lead by 1-0, and they now have a 3-goal cushion here. Roddenay heads it away, downward header by Torres. Douglas Luiz challenged by Iborra, and it goes out for a Villa throw far side the left. We've got just over 5 minutes remaining in this first half. Live on BBC Radio 5 Live and BBC Sounds. The throw from Digne. Watkins. Retsos gets there first, the central defender. Watkins, though, will rob him of the ball. Watkins runs forward. Watkins then finds Diaby, central area. Diaby can't get the shot away, gives it back towards Watkins. Bailey fires it in low, and then across the face of goal. And it went just in front of Cash, who almost stumbled as he was lurching forwards. And that was a real opportunity for Aston Villa. 5 minutes to go to the break.
Massive chance. If he just gambles, he's got a tap in. Again, brilliantly worked by Villa. It's a really good defending, I have to say. They get back in numbers really well, but still Villa are patient, quick with their passing. It comes to Bailey. Lovely little slide ball across the face of the goal, and just Matty's on his heels a little bit, and there was a big opportunity going there.
Throw for Olympiacos on this near side, the left. McGinn heads it forward. Douglas Luiz will knock it back to Diego Carlos, who retreats inside his own half. Finds Torres, left of the centre circle. Now leaves it for Luiz. Mendilibar looks quite relaxed in the corner of his technical area. Remarkably, I was sent an article about him from a good friend earlier today. The Manchester United match last April, when Sevilla were taking on United in the quarter-finals of the Europa League, was his first game as a manager in a major European competition. And he was talking about how they were 2-0 down at half-time, and he felt paralysed. And yet they got 2 goals, finished the first leg 2-2 at Old Trafford, won the return leg 3-0, and then ultimately went on to win the Europa League with Sevilla. And on the back of that, he ends up getting the Olympiacos job. He's the 3rd coach this season, incidentally, and he's eyeing further European glory. But he's been a coach for about 30 years, and to have that first experience of major European football so late in his career, I thought was quite remarkable. Here is El Kaabi for Olympiacos. Roddenay can't get there, tied it up by Digne. Martinez plays it back out to Digne, who under pressure has conceded a throw deep inside his own half.
I remember that game well. Sabitzer scored 2 early goals for Man United. It looked like it could have been 4 or 5, and then they slowly but surely found their way into the game. Did they end up winning that night, or did they draw?
It was 2-2 at Old Trafford.
Yeah, and then won 3-0 away.
3-0, yeah. And here he is, after taking over from Carlos Carvajal, former Sheffield Wednesday manager, who lasted just 2 months in the job. 11 games when he departed in February. And now they're looking at a European final for the first time in their 99-year history. 2.5 minutes to go to half-time, and 1-0 they lead. Bayer Leverkusen, incidentally, are trailing as that throw comes in on that far side to Roma by 1-0. A Paredes penalty. They were 2-0 up, of course, from the first leg in the Stadio Olimpico a week ago. So 2-1 they lead on aggregate to Alonso's side as the ball is hit long. One bounce, and it's collected by the right boot of Emi Martinez for Aston Villa. So it's going to have to be a Herculean effort in the second half, isn't it, from Aston Villa?
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about the first goal. It's not come yet. It's not as if they haven't had plenty of opportunities or chances, but I have to say they've defended like men possessed tonight, Olympiacos. Just wonder, Ian, how long they can keep it up for. That's the only thing.
Well, remember what Iborra said yesterday about he'd learnt many things from Unai Emery in his time together at Sevilla and Villarreal. But the one thing that he said he'll take most from the Aston Villa coach is that when it gets to this situation in the 4 European trophies that they've won together in their careers, you've got to want it more than the opposition. And you've got to play with that passion and that desire and certainly you can't fault Olympiacos with those attributes tonight. But Aston Villa have failed to score only once in their 13 games in this European campaign, and that was away to Ajax in the last 16. But they are trailing, so they've got to find 3 goals in 45 minutes as we enter the last 60 seconds of this first half. Diego Carlos sweeps it high downfield. Digne plays it forward, headed back towards Digne. Now sends over the cross, and again it's just too much in front of Cash, who was making that run into the inside right channel of the penalty area, and the ball peters out for a goal kick. 1-0 to Olympiacos.
It's just got to be better, you know, the final ball. They've worked it really well. Digne and Bailey again. Digne making great inroads down the left-hand side. Tried the ball with the outside of his foot to Cash, but misses it, and he shouldn't miss it. There's another decent opportunity, but again, good football from Villa. But that's what we're seeing. Good football, really good football actually, but not the punch at the end of it. And that would make all the difference to them going in at half-time.
4 minutes of added on time, a minimum of 4 minutes of added on time. Olympiacos lead by a goal to 0. Ball played back by Kini, hit first time forward by Solakis. El Kaabi tries to get there, offside. Free kick to Aston Villa. He went down holding his leg as if he'd been caught in that challenge. Martinez wants to take the quick free kick, but El Kaabi is writhing around and he's in a bit of pain.
I think he knows what he's doing. I think he's milking this. I'm not too sure there's much in that. And he's just killing a bit of time and killing the momentum of the game.
Did you see the second leg of Lille against Villa? I think the referee was Krusliak, who was a Slovakian referee. If you see him at the Euros, he's one of the 18, as is this fella, Felix Zweier. But Officius isn't in it, and he was showing yellow cards as if it was confetti. The way that they're rolling around, the gamesmanship might become more of a factor in the second half.
For me it's quite clear El Kaabi's fine, you know, he's just overreacting, wasn't much in it. Although I do think this referee tonight's done okay, to be fair to him. He's let the game flow and he's got most of the big decisions right so far.
German referee is one of the 18 that have been listed for the Euros. Of course, it goes without saying that we'll be providing comprehensive coverage, as a flat ball forward from the back by Diego Carlos tried to release Watkins for when we're in Germany in June. But there's still so much football to be played before then, as Cash tries to get away from Kini. But helping out was Esse on this near side, and Pedence plays the ball forward. Stepping out of defence was Diego Carlos. McGinn in stoppage time in the first half. Villa trail by a goal to 0. 5-2 down on aggregate. Douglas Luiz towards Konsa. Douglas Luiz once again. Pedence has a little nibble of his heels. Douglas Luiz stepping out of defence was Retsos there for Olympiacos. Douglas Luiz though with a turnover. Now towards Bailey. Can't get past Roddenay. Shows him on the inside. Watkins plays the ball back. McGinn opens it up far side to left. Digne waits, sends over the cross. A couple of headers inside the penalty area. The first was off Watkins. Kept in play by Diaby on the right hand side. Infield now to Douglas Luiz. Plays it forward, headed away by Fortounis, inside the Olympiacos half. Digne now comes inside, plays it just slightly backward of square for Douglas Luiz. Konsa joins the attack. Diaby provides the width near side. A crescendo of boos and whistles inside the Karaiskakis Stadium. Here is Diaby, his cross blocked by Pedence. Olympiacos working so hard off the ball.
Yeah, terrific from Pedence. That's what you want from your winger. Esse's had a really good game in there for Olympiacos. He's doing a great job in front of the two centre-halves. He's been excellent as well. But Villa's final ball, Ian, is either behind the player or they're missing it.
Here is Bailey. Bailey with a shot! Great save by the goalkeeper. It was travelling off his left foot. It was moving in the air. And Solakis managed to turn it behind for a corner kick.
It's a hell of a strike. Oh, gets a deflection as well. That's a great save from Solakis. Absolutely brilliant. Big moment here. Get the delivery right. Get yourselves back on party here.
Did ever so well that. That was a difficult one, particularly with the deflection, causing the ball to deviate the way it did. In comes the corner kick. Partially headed out. Douglas Luiz stumbling left side of the penalty area. Plays the ball back to Digne. Still the crowd obeying for the referee to blow his half-time whistle. Can you imagine what it'll be like for the full-time whistle?
Yeah, I mean, the atmosphere is fantastic. These fans have been brilliant for their team tonight. And again, a great defender from the set play. I think it was Carvo got a touch on the header. It was a great delivery in, I think, from Bailey. Carvo does. Those two at centre-half have been excellent, and Eze in front have done a great job defensively. They've been so rigid, stepped on to things when they needed to, and defended cross balls brilliantly, and that's why they've got a clean sheet at the minute.
This stand is vibrating. Olympiacos lead by a goal to nil. I always thought that they were meant to tell you inside the stadium how to keep the clock running, so it's hard to tell. Oh, in fact, there is the answer to what I was about to say, that the 4 minutes are up, and it's the half-time score of Olympiacos 1, Aston Villa 0, and it's El Kaabi with the all-important goal after 10 minutes. Neil Lennon.
Yeah, brilliant from Olympiacos on the counter-attack. Villa haven't played poorly. They just like a bit of punch in front of the goal, but you got to give Olympiacos great credit for the two centre-halves, the goalkeeper and Eze in front, doing a great job in curtailing Villa. But I think there is goals in this for Villa, but it might be too little too late. You know, they've got 3 to catch up on in the second half, but they're dominating possession. Their play has been good. They're just like that cutting edge, and that's not like them.
Douglas Luiz, incidentally, was booked for a challenge just before half-time, as John McGinn is the last player to leave the playing surface as he walks down the tunnel, and Aston Villa are going to have to produce something spectacular in the second half, because here in Piraeus it's Olympiacos 1, Aston Villa 0, and it's the Greek side who lead 5-2 on aggregate. Steve.
Yeah, and Neil, the problem doesn't really seem to be the performance in that 45 minutes of football, it's the situation. If this was the first half of the first leg, they'd think, oh well, we're dominating.
Yeah, you wonder when that performance tonight was last week, because they have. You know, they've been nice and composed, they play good football, they've worked the ball in the wide areas. It's just their final ball's been lacking, or it's been last-ditch defending from Olympiacos to keep them out. They did get a sucker punch with a goal though, Steve. I don't know, I'd have to see it again. I need to see if Pau Torres could have done better at the far post, because it almost looks like he slipped. There didn't seem to be a lot of pace on the cross, and El Kaabi's able to tap it in. And that was a result of, Podence breaking the high line and getting beyond them. But apart from that, we've been looking more or less at, one side of the pitch, and that's been Villa having all the ball in the, the final 2/3 of the Olympiacos pitch.
Rachel Corsi is with us as well all night, centre-back of course, so maybe you can help us with that one, Rach. I mean, we saw so much from El Kaabi in the first leg, so much time there, so much space. He was never going to miss.
No, he wasn't, and similar to the first leg, he didn't get many touches, but the ones he did have were clinical, and I think that's just what Olympiacos have done better than what Villa have. And Neil's wondering if possibly could have done better at the back post, and ideally as a centre-back you get your feet work done quickly so you're in position, but the timing of the run, Podence does well to sort of hold on to it. He feeds the ball into Kinney, who's then fizzed it across, and that you see Matty Cash, he's lunging. Diego Carlos can't quite get himself to a position where he can intercept it in the front post, and then Pau Torres is still trying to adjust his feet to the back, and he sort of dangles a leg as best he can because his body weight's just not quite in the right foot, and that's just where you see the effectiveness of getting the overlap and run and getting the delivery right. And I think that's where Villa have struggled. It's been very controlled, but it also is very, very difficult to break down a low block. That's what Olympiacos want to do. They want to frustrate you, but Villa do have more quality than what we've seen, and that's, I'm sure, what Emery's going to be saying just now in the dressing room. He's going to be asking them to be much more effective at creating those overloads and forcing Olympiacos to actually defend more difficult situations. Right now they've done very, very well, but everything they've done has been within, quite simple terms. We haven't asked enough questions. We haven't asked them to do things that make them feel more uncomfortable.
Those last few minutes of the first half felt so key, Neil. They were getting up ahead of steam, they were creating opportunities. There was that great save just a couple of minutes before half time. They just desperately needed that goal to go in level. Yeah,
psychologically that would have been great for them, and they would have deserved it as well, Steve. Now they've got a mountain to climb. Score 3 goals in 45-50 minutes. It's a huge ask against the really highly motivated team who are pretty dangerous on the counter-attack as well. But they've got for me, they've been the better team. They've got better players. They've been quite rigid in their defence. It was really interesting, Rachel. They started off pressing Villa high, and then Villa played through them a couple of times, and then they dropped off, sort of like a mid-block, and didn't go chasing. They got the goal at a really opportune time for them, and it settled them a little bit. But for me, Villa's reaction's been decent, but they're just lacking that cutting edge. They really, really need to force the issue now, and they might have to gamble a little bit and throw caution to the wind.
Neil, Ian, thank you both very much for the time being. So we'll bring you second half commentary, and the mountain has just got that little bit higher, hasn't it, for Aston Villa? So they're 1-0 down to Olympiacos at half-time, 5-2 down on aggregate in the Conference League semi-final. Second leg, winners meet Fiorentina in the final. In the Europa League, by the way, Atalanta lead Marseille by 1-0 at half-time and 2-1 on aggregate in Bergamo. Half-time in Leverkusen 0, Roma 1. Leverkusen still 2-1 up on aggregate, but they haven't lost a game of any sort all season. So maybe still something to be told in that semi-final second leg. Much more from Rach to come. We're going to talk Women's FA Cup final shortly, and we'll have our first little look ahead to the EuroLeague's programme as well. Juliana Ron and Guillaume Balaguer, who are with us once we are done in Greece. Let's get the news now on 5 Live with Dan Maudsley.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Good evening. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says his forces will press ahead with military operations in Gaza and fight alone if necessary. He was speaking after President Biden confirmed the US had paused delivery of any bombs which could be used in an assault on the city of Rafah. Well, armed police have been stationed outside the hotel of Israel's Eurovision Song Contest entry in the Swedish city of Malmö, ahead of her performance in the semi-final tonight. Thousands of people have joined pro-Palestinian demonstrations in the city to protest against Israel's involvement. Yesterday, Eden Golan was booed during rehearsals. Our reporter Charlotte Gallagher is in Malmö.
Today has really been dominated by those pro-Palestinian protests in the centre of Malmö. People wanted to make their point that they feel Israel should not be included in the Eurovision Song Contest this year. However, Israel is here. Eden Golan is performing in the semi-final tonight with her song Hurricane. It was originally called October Rain, and the EBU, which run Eurovision, felt that referenced what happened in October when Hamas fighters went into Israel. So the lyrics of that song had to be changed.
The government's confirmed that British troops will not be deployed in Gaza to help deliver humanitarian aid. Officials were considering whether soldiers could be used to drive lorries along a floating causeway and onto the beach. Inspectors have issued a warning to the government about conditions at Wandsworth Prison in South London. Ministers have been given a month to produce an action plan for the prison, the second biggest in England. The adult film star Stormy Daniels has clashed with Donald Trump's lawyers as they cross-examined her at his trial in New York. The former president's accused of falsifying business records to hide hush money payments to Ms Daniels after she alleged they had sex in 2006. Mr Trump denies the claims. And a 9-year-old boy who missed a garden party at Buckingham Palace after getting stuck in a motorway tailback says he's delighted to have been asked back. Tony Hudgell, who's a double amputee, was the youngest person featured in the New Year's honours for his charity work. After seeing his mother's post on social media, the King and Queen offered to rearrange the visit.
BBC 5 Live.
The voice of the UK.
Every morning, Rick and I wake up with you on 5 Live Breakfast.
Good morning, these are the headlines.
Rick is going to give us the lowdown on the beef between Kendrick Lamar and Drake.
Yes.
So you can impress your kids.
Lewis has texted and said, Rachel, you've been up since the crack of dawn this morning. You're going to be up all night tonight. Are you getting enough sleep? Single word answer, please.
No, first they came for Peter Kay, then it was the Black Keys. Last night, Boogie with the hoodie.
Don't take the fact that I was laughing hysterically there. I find it funny.
All that and a whole lot more.
5 Live Breakfast with Rachel Burden and Rick Edwards.
Listen weekdays from 6
on 5 Live and BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sport with Steve Crossman.
On 5 Live. Listen on BBC Sounds.
And it is Olympiacos 1, Aston Villa 0 in half-time in the Conference League semi-final second leg. Greek side leading 5-2 on aggregate. Once we're done with our commentary, we'll be bringing the EuroLeagues with Guillaume Balaguer and Juliana Ron. Jules is with us. Good evening.
Hi, Steve. Hi, everyone.
Hello. It's a long way back for Villa now, isn't it? I have a feeling that when we come on at 10 o'clock, I don't think we're going to be talking about an English team in a European final this season.
Yeah, I think you might be right, which I think would be a massive underachievement from Premier League sides, of course, in the big Champions League, but also in the other two European competitions. For the best league in the world, not to have anybody, I mean, just to have even one team in the semi-final is not good enough, let's be honest. And for Villa to concede so early in the game when really they could not afford to concede a goal, and in the manner as well it happened, in transition like that, with the defending, with big question mark over the defending, I think was really disappointing. So they're going to push even more in the second half, which probably will suit this incredible and surprisingly good Olympiacos side. I was looking at the bench as well. The problem, there's no Rodgers, no Zaniolo for Unai Emery, so only John Duran can come off the bench to try to bring something to the team as well if Unai wants it at some point. But yeah, it's not looking good.
If I had said to you at the start of the season, right, one of these two things is going to happen this season. Either there won't be a British team in a European final this season, or Joselu will play in a Champions League final. Which would you have said?
I probably would have said, like, okay, yeah, Joselu, especially before his move on loan, by the way, to Real Madrid. Exactly. I would have said, yeah, no chance, Joselu. But what an incredible story. 34 years old, a Real Madrid fan all his life, played for the club as a kid in the youth teams, was never good enough to make the first team, had to go to like different clubs through his career, even Stoke City, of course. We mentioned it already in half time. He's the brother-in-law of Dani Carvajal, the Real Madrid right back, who is a proper Real Madrid player, if you want. He was in Paris for the final in 2022 as a fan, and last night he scored those two incredible goals right at the death to knock out Bayern Munich and get Real Madrid, his team, to another Champions League final. Just incredible.
Lovely. All right, Jules, we'll speak to you after 10 o'clock.
Thank you.
Jules Guillaume will be with us for the EuroLeagues at full time in Piraeus. There's lots of great football coming up this weekend as well. We're telling you about some of the Premier League games with Ian Dennis a little bit earlier. It's also the Women's FA Cup final this weekend. Full commentary on Sunday. Manchester United and Tottenham face each other. The Spurs boss Robert Villarman says they're feeding off the experience of players that have gone before.
I started the first morning meeting this week to ask the players who's been in the final and won the final, what's your best advice for this group? And they said the same stuff, to keep focusing in the same way we do it. Don't overthink anything, just keep the process this week, go into this game in a normal way. I think for the other players to hear that and understand that they have done these trips before, they spoke about how they've done the first game, second game and so on. So I think that's helped the team to prepare and to focus on a good week with good training, because the game will come.
Villa captain Rachel Corsi's with us all evening. I am amazed by that clip, Rachel. As captain, how do you think you would feel if your manager came in for your first sort of training session ahead of a cup final and said, "So guys, what do you think?"
I mean, firstly, I would just be buzzing. I love that.
Yes.
Is what the party line always is. You've got to just prepare like a normal week. But at the same time, there's a part of me that thinks you need to also prepare like it's the week of the FA Cup final, because it's not a normal week. And I think there's another element of, you don't want to overhype it and you end up sort of in a bag of nerves and don't perform, and you know, you would feel disappointed in that regard too. But I just think you want to make sure you give absolutely everything. You want to make sure you enjoy it. I think there's an element of the preparation needs to be as you would expect it to be any other week, in terms of in possession, out of possession, tactical work. All that needs to be, you know, as diligent as always. I think there's an element though as well of, you got to be ready to play at Wembley in front of a full stadium, and that's not something that those players do every week. So I think you do need to prepare with an element of, you know, a combination of excitement and just preparation for the fact it's a big occasion and you got to live it.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I mean, we're going to hype it as well, rightly so. You're going to be there on Sunday. One of the great things about this final is that we're going to have a new name on the trophy, whoever wins.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, obviously last year it was disappointment for Manchester United, and I think that probably gives them a little bit of an edge in that, you know, those players walked that walk last year, they went through it, that feeling of being at Wembley in front of the crowd and the occasion itself. You've got a little bit of practice, and I'm not saying that's everything, but it is something that you possibly say, yeah, we know what it was like last year. We know what it felt like to not lift the trophy. Maybe that's a little bit of motivation for some players. And, I think it's going to be a good game. I'm really excited that I get to go. I'm really excited that it's going to be another sellout. I know that's what we've come to expect, but as you say, it's two different teams in it. And I think it's fantastic that's going to be the case once again. So it should be a great game. I think both teams have had a steady season, you would say, and I think this is something that both of them will feel really would certainly make their season into one that would be memorable.
One of the things that sums everything up really nicely is there's a story in The Athletic today saying that Nikita Paris, who Manchester United striker, of course, could have had a really lucrative move to the US last month, but turned it down because it would have meant not being able to play in the FA Cup final. I mean, that says a lot about her and a lot about the competition.
Yeah, I did see that headline. I did see the headline. Do you know what? I think fair play to her for turning it down, because I think nowadays the money has improved dramatically in the game. All around the world, we're seeing that more and more, and it's not necessarily the only reason why people make decisions, but of course we've seen players do that in the past. So I think it's always good. I think you get a gut feeling with these things, and you have to respect that she felt that the right decision was to stay. That's what she wanted to do, and she has got the opportunity to get her hands in some silverware, and I'm sure that is something that she hopes she can be a big part of at the weekend.
Absolutely. Silverware for Villa feels a long way away right now. They need a bit of a miracle in the second half in Piraeus. Ian.
Yeah, they've got to score 3 goals without reply just to take it to extra time. El Kaabi, who scored that hat-trick at Villa Park a week ago, with the only goal of the game on the night here in Piraeus after 10 minutes as Olympiacos lead 1-0 and a 5-2 up on aggregate. Now the side has made a change at half-time, so Solakis in goal, Rodney, Retsos, Carmo and Kini is the defence for Olympiacos, with Esse, Chiquinho, Iborra in the midfield for Tunis, Podence and El Kaabi in their red and white striped shirts and red shorts as they get us underway, and they'll be playing from left to right as we look here, left of the halfway line. Aston Villa with Emi Martinez in goal, a back three of Consa, Pau Torres and Diego Carlos, Cash and Digne as the wing-backs, right and left respectively, McGinn and Douglas Luiz, Bailey Diaby and Ollie Watkins. And it's going to have to be some influential team talk from Unai Emery as the cross from Rodney is cleared away by Pau Torres for Aston Villa to try and turn it around as Watkins is sent forward. And then Carmo came across. Watkins thought he was fouled. Clearly the referee thought it was just a good old shoulder barge as Watkins was sent just a little bit off balance and falling to the floor. And Olympiacos dealt with a threat from the England international.
I thought it was a foul, yeah. I thought Corvo went through the back of him, and the referee's right there. He's obviously way of play on, but Ollie Watkins very frustrated with that.
Ball hit forward by Retsos. El Kaabi is the willing runner. Ball won't go out of play. He's got Chiquinho up in support with him. Behind him is Fortunis. Now to Iborra, bearded midfielder with his jet black hair, and as he switched play out towards Kini, who's playing out of position, remember, the right back on the left full back area. He couldn't control the ball, and it will go for a Villa throw. But been done before, hasn't it? 3 goals. It's not.
I was just thinking at half-time, could this be one of them magical nights in Europe for a British club? I was thinking of Spurs.
Yeah.
The semi-final win in Ajax. When they scored 2 late goals, or Moura got the hat-trick. But they need to show a bit more in the final third for me. They've had plenty of the ball. It's just the final ball's been lacking for them. They haven't played badly, but the goal would just change the whole atmosphere around this place, I think. But the longer it's 0-0, the more the enjoyment around the stadium's going to increase.
That was probably the most incredible 48-hour period for English football, with Liverpool and their epic comeback against Barcelona at Anfield. And then on the 8th of May, Tottenham producing their own glorious fight back against Ajax 24 hours later. But they're trailing by a 1-0, 2.5 minutes into the second half. Olympiacos have got everybody back behind the ball for this free kick, which is about 10 yards forward of the centre circle. McGinn to take it, bouncing ball that Cash tries to get on the end of, and he couldn't keep the ball in play, and it bounces out of play for a goal kick that Solakis will be in no real hurry to take. He's under the watchful eye, though, of the referee, Felix Weyer. He was warned in the first half for time wasting. It won't take much to test the patience of the German official, but he's still biding his time 3 minutes into the second half. Headed away by Diego Carlos, chested forward by Watkins. Now it's with Douglas Luiz. Diaby will pick up a loose ball outside the centre circle, out towards Cash. Cash looks to run at his man, goes on the outside. Keeney barks at him as he tells him to get to his feet, going to ground far too easily. And it will be play on, says the referee, and it's in the hands of Solakis once again.
Yeah, I thought that was a foul as well. I don't know. Referees being pretty lenient here at the minute on Olympiacos.
The end away towards our left. They haven't stopped singing all night. They're going to need some strepsils, I would imagine, or some honey in the morning. Might follow something else that will lift us.
Maybe a little bit stronger than strepsils in it if they get through.
The throw for Olympiacos on this near right-hand side. Clipped forward then by Digne. Flick header by Watkins. Finds Diaby. Diaby has Cash marauding forward from his right wing back role. Slows it down. Infield towards McGinn. Diagonal ball. Finds Bailey. Edge of the area. Chips it forward. Watkins with a header. Looping just over the top. Brushes the roof of the net and out for a goal kick. Still Olympiacos lead 1-0.
Good play. Really good play. Gets to the McGinn to Diaby. Little dink ball, but it's just a little bit behind Ollie Watkins, and he has to generate all the power himself. It's a little dink ball in. He just couldn't keep it down for a start, and he couldn't get enough purchase on it. But again, promising.
Atalanta are now leading Marseille by 2-0. 3-1 on aggregate they are in the Europa League. We've already got an Italian side in the final of the Europa Conference League, and Atalanta, conquerors of Liverpool of course, are well set for the Europa League final, which will be held in Dublin. As this is El Kaabi, infield to Chiquinho, right-hand side of the penalty area. Fortounis now takes over, plays the ball back just outside the area. Iborra, formerly of Seville and Leicester and Villarreal, as Fortounis cuts inside, and his low left-footed shot was easily saved by Emi Martinez.
Yeah, too easy though for Fortounis to come inside and get a shot away. It was a bit slack from Villa. Good play from Iborra in the build-up, big strong header. Leon Bailey felt the effects of that. But again, this is suiting Olympiacos. Villa need to quicken up the tempo, maybe play longer. But whatever it is, you know, they're going to have to affect Olympiacos, because this half is just dawdling at the minute. It's just meandering. They're not really doing enough. They're not playing enough in the Olympiacos half at the minute for me. And they need to try and start forcing the issue a little bit.
The final will be played in the AEK Arena. The official capacity is 32,500. But for the Europa Conference League, UEFA have set a capacity of 27,100. The finalists will get 9,000 tickets each. You'll have 9,000 Fiorentina fans as it stands. The rest, by hook or by crook, will be Olympiacos.
By the way, honestly, Ian, you could fill it 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. You know, the best supporter club in Greece. And for them to play it in Athens, wow, what an occasion that would be. Wouldn't mind going out with myself. That's if they get there. It's not over yet.
No, but they're well set. As a ball is played by Emi Martinez, and it was well behind Pau Torres, who was struggling to get there, and it rolls out of play for a throw, and the decibel levels have just been increased, and even in this main stand the supporters are jumping up and down out of their seats as the scarves and flags are flying once more, where Olympiacos have a 5-2 aggregate lead. And Aston Villa, for each minute that passes by, that uphill task just gets a little stiffer. Here is Iborra. Fortounis showed too much there to Digne. Ball kept in play by Bailey. Did well to find Watkins in field. Lays it back towards McGinn. Runs forward. Oh, that was a cynical foul by Patent.
Oh, that's naughty.
That was absolutely cynical. No attempt to play the ball, just a blatant trip.
That's awful. Absolutely, that is so cynical. He didn't need to do it either, but he's just done it out of pure spite. I think there's a little bit of jostling going on in the first half between him and McGinn, but McGinn did brilliantly. You know, he's burst away and he's just taken him out. Just a nasty little clip.
He tried something similar, as you say, in the first half, and that's the third yellow card to be shown. Another pass goes astray.
Getting sloppy, they're starting to feel sorry for themselves. They need a bit of inspiration here, a bit of magic, a bit of drive, somebody just to light the torch paper. But at the minute, they're slowing the game down too much and they're not affecting Olympiacos at all.
Limited in terms of options on the bench. They're missing Rodgers, they're missing Tielemans, Zaniolo, Morena, Ramsey, Mings, Buendia, Kamara. They're been plagued by injury for this long and exhausting campaign. And rather well set for Champions League football. 82-83 was the last time they played in Europe's elite competition. Hopes of building on that European Cup trophy in 82 as a cross drifts in from Diaby that is gathered in by Solakis, the goalkeeper. They might be end of the road, might be here at the semi-final stage as Olympiacos, the supporters once again celebrating in unison for a party that feels like it will go on forever and a day. 10 minutes into the second half, still leading by a goal to nil. And while they're not really posing much of a threat, it just suits them at the minute that Aston Villa haven't really been able to find the rhythm.
They're delighted, Olympiacos. They're just, you know, it's a good spell for them. That's 10 minutes into the second half now, and it's been pretty bland. They've got Duran on the bench, Ian. Now, you know, he's a striker, physical presence. He might give them something different. Who knows? But you know, he might have to think about making a change in the next 4 or 5 minutes.
Here is Iborra using his strength, little flick inside, taken over by Fortounis. Carmo, the central defender, on the halfway line. Duran, there he is again, mystic Lennon, as we see the sight of John Duran waiting to come on off the bench, getting his final instructions from Unai Emery.
It just makes sense, you know. Like I said, the game's starting to meander away from Villa. He may just inject them with a bit of freshness, a bit of power, certainly power, and something a little bit different. He may change formation here as well, Ian, and go with 2 strikers. But the noise around here, you know, I think people might have bothered listening to this back home, you know, with the noise going on. They're really feeling it now, the Olympiacos fans.
It's a booming noise inside the Karaiskakis Stadium. They have their noses in front and they have clear daylight between them and Aston Villa. Duran still getting his instructions. Aston Villa not really shown much in this second half to offer a great deal of encouragement. We talked about how they'd started with confidence and composure and then caught by that goal after 10 minutes despite that start, but haven't really worked the goalkeeper enough. Only that Bailey effort to the end of that first half. Trailing 1-0. Ball played back by Digne. Douglas Luiz forward to McGinn. McGinn back to Diego Carlos. Diego Carlos runs forward, finds Diaby, takes it on the turn, out towards Cash. Little stumble, keeps his balance though now, tries to play it forward, stopped by Iborra once again. Now towards Podence, who's the outlet on that far side, the left. And he was held back by Diego Carlos. He drops to his knees, the on-loan player from Wolverhampton Wanderers. And every decision that seems to go then in favour of Olympiacos is a trigger point for the supporters to start celebrating again.
Yeah, because they feel it, you know, that every minute that goes by, they're closer to the final as the score stays the same. Here's Duran coming now. I don't know if he's going to change formation. He's going to go with 2 up top. It's Diaby that's coming off him. Moussa
Diaby makes way. And John Duran, the Colombian international, comes on. He's going to go through the middle. Ollie Watkins at the minute has just got his arms out open wide as if to say, well, where do I go? So the two of them are naturally having a dialogue. Not that they'll be able to hear each other as the ball is hit long. Ooh, that was an awkward bounce. It really did rear up off the playing surface, and Emi Martinez had to extend his arms to catch it above his head. Villa trailing by a goal to nil on the night, 5-2 down overall. Douglas Luiz, Diego Carlos, Konsa. They switch to a back four now. Konsa playing as a right back and Cash on that right flank, do you think?
Possibly.
Ball switched out to Digne. Running back was Fortounis. Here is Iborra using his experience very well and chipping it up towards Fortounis. Kept it in play on the volley, but overhit it straight towards Diego Carlos. Here is McGinn. Torres on the halfway line. Ball given away by Digne. Straight then towards Esse. And now Podence picks it up and runs, and he passes the ball towards El Kaabi. And El Kaabi enters the penalty area. He crosses the ball. Esse just couldn't get there. He will keep it alive. Right side of the penalty area. Fortounis with a shot blocked. Comes towards Iborra. Plays it back out towards the right for Olympiacos to attack. The second goal really would finish off Aston Villa. But they've lost the ball, and now can Villa strike on the counter? Douglas Luiz leaves it towards McGinn. McGinn plays an early ball forward. This is Duran. Duran has got Bailey and Watkins in support. Duran shoots, the keeper spilt it, and it's headed behind by Carmo for a corner.
Yes, Villa's starting to gamble now. It's going to leave gaps at the back, which El Kaabi, manipulated there, and better ball and Eze to tap in. And then we go the other end of the pitch. Duran, I think if he gets his head up, he could have scored at the Cash, but takes the shot on. It's not a great shot, but the goalkeeper deals with it. But it's all hands to the pump now, and you've got half an hour to get 3 goals. You've got to throw caution to the wind, and I think that's what Emery's decided to do.
Douglas Luiz stands ready to take the corner kick. Near side the left, rolls it short. McGinn doesn't cross the ball, edge of the area. Thought he was going to shoot then off his right foot. Back towards Digne. Digne delivers the ball in. Headed out by Iborra, having a fine game. The defensive midfielder slipped by McGinn. Manages to find Digne under pressure, holds off El Kaabi, passes the ball back to Martinez. High line now by Olympiacos as they push out. John Duran having a word with Digne as Martinez, almost to the edge of the centre circle, floats the ball out towards that far side. Ball play forward now. Cash on the overlap, right-hand side. Terrific sliding challenge by Iborra, who bellows at the crowd. And they respond.
He almost celebrates it like a goal. It is brilliant cover, though. It's a great little move, little triangle between Bailey and Cash, and I think Diego Carlos had popped up there on the right wing of all people, but brilliant cover and tackle from Iborra. But a corner for Villa.
A corner for Villa might temporarily silence the Olympiacos support. In it comes, far side. Konsa got his head on it inside the 6-yard area, couldn't keep it down. His header goes over the top, and Olympiacos are 29 minutes away from booking their place in the final against Fiorentina as they lead by a goal to nil on the night.
And these fans are really enjoying themselves now. It's like a carnival atmosphere. They've been singing for the last 3 hours, but there's no sign of it letting up. They're almost there. The fans can almost feel it. And what a crescendo noise we get at the end of this, but you can see the pride they have in their club. And it's a big effort for Greek football as well, if they come through this. But they're playing really, really smart at the minute. They're not giving too much away. Villa are finding it hard to find the gaps, but that's a great ball.
A lovely ball over the top. Watkins with the first touch, but there was Carmo. He went to go around the goalkeeper, and the tall central defender just took it away. And then the ball has been drilled downfield by Keeney, but only as far as Cash. But Keeney there was to react, to step out of defence, to carry the ball up towards the halfway line. And he finds Podence, and now he gives El Kaabi something to chase. And El Kaabi will take it out wide towards that far side, the left, and slows it down. Their game management, they played ever so well at Villa Park a week ago. And there is Iborra, and now Fortounis out to Rodney on this near side. Infield to Fortounis, right corner of the area, delivers the cross. And El Kaabi was there, and it was a good job that he was challenged by Konsa as he tried to head bravely at around knee height for that ball dropping. Behind it goes for a corner.
Should have scored. It's a dolly, but I think Konsa did enough to put him off. It was a brilliant play for Fortounis, great pick out before post, and he should score, El Kaabi. But obviously this is the risk that Villa have to take now. They're going to leave themselves exposed at the back. Is Podence coming off now?
I think probably mindful of the yellow card that he picked up, and he's going to be replaced by Masouras, who's a Greek winner, a Greek winger. He might well be a winner. And when he was suspended for the first leg, he was the only player to have been involved in all 51 games for Olympiacos this season. He scored 9 goals, he's had 9 assists, so he is another key player for them. Lots of experience, 41 caps for his country. Masouras is on for Podence with 27 minutes remaining. And Aston Villa are going to be making another change as well. And it is going to be Irabunum who's going to be coming on. They have a number of youngsters on the bench. And Irabunum, who's 20 years of age, a midfielder, but only 17 appearances. And indeed, until his appearance against Manchester United, that was his first time for Villa since August 2022. 13 appearances since that. But still very inexperienced as that shot takes a deflection and easily saved by Emi Martinez. So Irabunum to come on for Aston Villa, but slipping away from Unai Emery.
Yeah, the minutes are ticking by now. They haven't done enough this second half. Thought they were really good first half, really slick, but they look a little bit jaded now. I don't know if it's mental fatigue as well as physical fatigue, but they've just gone a little bit sloppy on it, you know, and it's given oxygen to the Olympiacos players. They actually look the fresher of the two teams at the minute, Ian, considering they've done a lot of work without the ball in the first half.
Their 18th game in Europe this season, if you include the 2 qualifying rounds that they played in August. And Irabunum is going to be coming on, and Diego Carlos is the player who is going to be going off. So now they will switch to that flat back 4. Consa will partner Pau Torres. 4 fingers being held aloft by Unai Emery to get that across to his defenders with Digne, Torres, Consa and Cash. Irabunum goes into the midfield. Olympiacos still lead by a 1-0. Throw for Villa into the penalty area. Towering header by Carmo. Ball played back by Irabunum to Consa. Now with Torres just inside the centre circle of the Olympiacos half. Back it goes. Still he's trying to get instructions over to Unai Emery. They wanted Cash to play forward, but I think Cash was caught in 2 minds because he was told to go as a right back. Now he plays the ball forward. This is with Bailey inside the penalty area. For that time they just had no width when they wanted the switch, and now they've got to be careful they don't get caught out at the back. As Consa, does he bring down Alkabi? The referee says no.
Great refereeing. Thought Consa just stood his ground and Kaba tried to lean into him, and he was just strong and he fell over. He's looking for the free kick obviously, but the referee's not having it. McGinn's moved out to the left here now, and they got Bailey on the right hand side. Oh, you see that? That sums up Villa's second half for me, and too many misplaced passes, sloppy, you know. Irabunum just puts it straight out of play, and again it just gives oxygen to Olympiacos and the supporters.
It was a repeat actually of what happened in the first half. Too many mistakes in the first leg rather, and in this second half there's been a number of passes that have gone astray. Is that down to tiredness?
Yeah, well, mental and physical I think, or maybe just Irabunum's just come on, so it shouldn't be. He should be fresh, like, you know what I mean? I just think they've been not at it in the second half. There's been a lack of sharpness or urgency and quality about them, and I mean, we're hanging on bare fingernails here if we're going to get anything out of this.
Keeney's just been shown a yellow card by the German referee. We're midway through the second half, so he's the 3rd Olympiacos player to be booked, just climbing over the top of Ollie Watkins. Aston Villa then have got a free kick, not quite at the midway point of the Olympiacos half. They're playing from right to left as we look. There are 5 Villa shirts to aim for in and around the D. In it comes now from Douglas Luiz, and glances actually off an Olympiacos head. It might have been Esse who climbed, but it's easily saved by Solakis. And they're 22 minutes away from reaching the final.
Yeah, I'm not too sure there's anything Emery can do now.
Ball played over the top. Masouras tries to get there. Martinez takes him out. Martinez could be in trouble here. Was that the denial of a goal-scoring opportunity? Although the flag has been raised on this near side, and Masouras was considered to be offside.
He's a lucky boy, Ian.
I'm not sure whether he actually was offside when the ball was played over, but Martinez was high as he was leaping with his right leg, caught Masouras around the waist height, but he was offside. Just over 20 minutes remaining here in Piraeus, and Villa still trail by a 1-0 on the night. But we're so fortunate to work for 5 Live Sport. There's no substitute for being here, because you're right, yes, there'll be disappointment for Aston Villa, but it will be such a significant night for Greek football to reach another side, and the first in 53 years since Panathinaikos at Wembley in 1971 to reach a European final.
Yes, it's historical, you know, historical. I was at this same game this time last year when West Ham beat Alkmaar. It was a bit of orgy-bargy going on here, but nothing really in it. I think Ibarra's down, and Olympiacos wanted Villa to stop the play. The ball had gone out, and then Dini and Radini got into a bit of pushing and shoving. Nothing really much to see. Ibarra's back up on his feet anyway. But yeah, I mean, it's a privilege to be here, Ian. You know, this is a great night for these supporters. You think they've never been to a final before. It's incredible when you think of the prestige and the size of a club like Olympiacos.
Now the referee was ready for play to resume with a throw to Aston Villa, but Ibarra has gone back down again on the halfway line. Mendilibar, the coach of Olympiacos, just with a wag of the finger. He doesn't look too impressed. He's going to do the double over Unai Emery. They first went head-to-head about 20 years ago, as Bayer Leverkusen have conceded again, and Roma now lead 2-0 on the night, and that's 2-2 on aggregate in the Europa League semi-finals. Atalanta are on course to reach the final in Dublin, but they could be going to extra time in Germany. Ibarra is back on his feet. That's interesting. Unai Emery and Ibarra just having a few words there now. Emery doesn't look impressed. He was singing his praises yesterday, saying he's a fantastic competitor, a fantastic man. They've certainly got a lot of respect for each other, but as Ibarra leaves the field of play, there were certainly words being exchanged between the two.
Yeah, Emery's giving him a sarcastic clap almost. He made me thinking Ibarra's at it, you know. We're going to see, this is what we talked about. Olympiacos just killing the clock, just running it down now. A little bit of the dark arts coming into the game. But again, Villa's tempos with a pass is really slow at the minute.
Temporarily, they're down to 10 men, Olympiacos, but they lead by a 1-0. And Aston Villa still need to find 3 goals in 18 minutes. Bailey touches the ball back. Iribunum to Cash. Olympiacos still working hard off the ball. Andre Horta is the player who's going to be coming on for Olympiacos. Another pass goes astray, misplaced by Aston Villa. If fatigue is kicking in, maybe that 4th space for Champions League football isn't as assured as the cross comes in. Watkins beaten in the air. Iribunum tries to head it down. Chiquinho comes forward. Iribunum is going to be shown a yellow card for a foul on Chiquinho, and the Villa substitute is now booked by the German referee, and once again they celebrate as another decision goes in their favour. And there is confirmation that Vicente Ibarra, who's looking to add to his 4 European titles that he's won in his career, makes way for The Portuguese midfielder, who's on loan from Braga, formerly of Benfica, but Chiquinho is also staying down. But 17 minutes remain of normal time.
There's not a lot to say at the minute, is there? You know, like I say, I think Emery's played all the cards he can. They do look fatigued, Villa. You know, they've lost that spark and that zip they had in the first half. Obviously, he's had to change the system. But, you know, they haven't affected the goalkeeper at all in the second half. The quality's been pretty poor, really. And it's suiting Olympiacos the way the game's just drifting away here.
I wondered whether it would be a case of third time lucky for Villa's 16th European campaign. 2 previous occasions where they've lost the first leg at home, they have been knocked out. The European Cup in '83 at the quarter-final stage to Juventus, Vartex in the UEFA Cup 23 years ago, where they actually won the second leg but went out on the away goals rule in the UEFA Cup, but unable to score here tonight, and in the second half haven't looked like scoring either, with 16 minutes remaining. 16 minutes before Olympiacos can have the biggest party on what will be not the biggest night in their 99-year history. Jose Luis Mendilibar was asked that yesterday and he said hopefully not. We've still got one more game to come, and those words may well prove to be prophetic as the ball is chipped out towards Cash. Cash tries to take it on the outside and succeeds. Cash with a cutback. Watkins was at the near post and it's been spooned behind for a corner kick to Aston Villa. Cash did ever so well.
Oh, he did brilliantly. You know, he got beyond the fullback. It was a difficult ball to control. It's bounced up, he's controlled it with his head and headed it down into the ground and then followed on. Great run from Matty Cash. Tried to flash it across the goal, but again Olympiacos defended there first ahead of Watkins.
Keeney's gone down with cramp. Aston Villa, first time in 12 games on Sunday that they failed to score. They're actually looking for what would be the first time to lose 3 on the spin since February 2023. Keeney is on his feet. The referee would have said, you're going off the pitch and then you have to stay off for 30 seconds or you have to plough on. And the right back, as the corner has been taken quickly, was back on his feet. Corner blocked on that far side. Olympiacos have been so resilient in their defence, as we're going to have a debut for Pastores Apostolopoulos.
Pardon?
Exactly. That's not easy to say. He's a 21-year-old Greek defender who's going to come on for his debut. Meanwhile, on the counter-attack, El Kaabi plays it back and it's just ticked away from Douglas Luiz. The body language...
Yeah, it's awful. It's awful. They're all having a go at each other.
The bickering.
Yeah, there's a lot of gesticulating. Yeah, it's awful. And that's not just recent, that's been the last sort of 15-20 minutes. There's a lot of arguing going on. McGinn's having words with Watkins, Douglas Luiz is having words with Pau Torres. You know, it's just not happening.
Keeney is the player who is going off. He's put in a shift. He's done well, actually, bearing in mind that that was meant to be the problem area for them, with no Richards and no Ortega. And what a welcome for the young 21-year-old defender.
What a moment for him. Come on in a game of this magnitude. Did you say it's his debut?
Yeah.
Well, what's his name again, Ian?
Apostolopoulos. I hope he doesn't score. And he's coming on to a deafening roar as the ball is played out towards that far side. Douglas Luiz to the edge of the area. He turns, challenged, managed to roll away from El Kaabi. McGinn wants the ball to feet. Doug Luiz pulls it then towards Digne. 12 minutes remaining. Olympiacos 1, Aston Villa 0. Pau Torres, Duran, McGinn. Is there any late hope for Villa? Digne's cross easily saved by Solakis, the keeper, diving forward all in yellow inside his 6-yard area.
It's not the worst ball, but nobody's getting across the near post to attack it. I don't know what Deeney can do. You know, he's been forced wide with the pass. He's tried to dig out across. It's the only thing he can do first time. And no one's attacking it. Right up.
Flag stays down. El Kaabi is in here. El Kaabi goes on to score. And now the flag is raised.
Yeah.
It's a late flag, and those celebrations are cut short. It goes without saying it will be checked. Ball just hit so long by the goalkeeper, and standing in an offside position was El Kaabi. Made the run from the right-hand side. The VAR is Bastian Dankert from Germany. He did look offside. There will be that check. There is that sense of anticipation. The longer the check goes on, that maybe, just maybe, it's tighter than we thought. You will know by the reaction of the crowd if this goal stands. I thought he was offside, but it can't be that clear cut if the delay is taking as long as it is. Olympiacos are ready to celebrate. The referee tells the players to wait. We haven't seen it again on the screens. Olympiacos 1, Aston Villa 0. The first goal came 10 minutes into the game. We're 10 minutes from the end. This will finish Villa off. They're building up the tension, the Olympiacos supporters. It's either going to be a wild celebration or a huge anticlimax. Now, was Konsa playing him onside? He made the run from the right touchline. He fired the ball past Emi Martinez. I've got a feeling, you know,
I thought he was onside, you know.
This goal might be given. Here comes the news. The goal stands! Utter bedlam! Here in Piraeus, the end of the road for Aston Villa, and the party can begin for Olympiacos. El Kaabi's second goal increases the lead for Olympiacos. 2 goals for him to add to his hat-trick in Birmingham a week ago. Olympiacos 2, Aston Villa 0. And we can now say, for the first time in their 99-year history, Olympiacos will be in a European final. El Kaabi, after a long wait through VAR, the goal stands, and Villa are heading out.
It's just utter bedlam in here tonight. What an atmosphere. There's people almost in tears, not far from us. You know, everyone's singing. You can't begrudge him, Ian. He's been brilliant, El Kaabi. I mean, he's been so impressive. First time I've seen him live. And obviously, you know, he was a killer last week with a hat-trick. He's been such a handful throughout both the ties. What a season he's had. But yeah, I mean, it's magnificent scenes here. You have to say, probably thoroughly deserved over the 2 legs.
Yes, they do. Leading now by 2 goals to 0. I've witnessed some terrific atmospheres travelling around Europe, covering European football since the mid-90s. This, I've got to say, is up there with anything I've experienced before. Not the biggest stadium you've ever been in. It holds just over 33,000. But at times you could think you could double that with the noise that has been created. As a line of stewards now in their luminous orange bibs make their way in front of the end away towards our left. The Gate 7 Ultras, where they're housed in that end. But it doesn't matter, because everybody is up and out of their seats. And what a night this is for Olympiacos. 2-0. They played down the fact that they were regarded as favourites, leading by 4 goals to 2 after that first leg at Villa Park. but they've not been phased, they've not choked, they've not bottled, they've held firm, and Aston Villa simply haven't done enough. But you've got to credit Olympiacos as the ball is played out to Douglas Luiz and now to Digne on this near side, because in the words of Vicente Iborra yesterday, they've wanted it more.
I totally agree. They've been men possessed. The work rate has been fantastic, and actually, I thought, first half Villa were by far the better team. I have to say, I think Olympiacos have been the better team in the second half, and the goal came at the right time. I would love to know why they still persist with a high line, Aston Villa, because it's cost them tonight big time. And at this level of football, against really good movement, really good strikers, you're going to get punished, and they've been punished again.
Bayer Leverkusen 1, Roma 2. Roma lead on the night, but Bayer Leverkusen in that Europa League semi-final are now leading 3-2 on aggregate for Xabi Alonso's side. Unai Emery is going to make 3 changes, but Olympiacos are breaking forward once again for Tunis, blocked by Pau Torres. We're going to see changes being made.
Looks like the youth team are coming on in.
Yeah, we've got Finlay Munro, a 19-year-old defender who's going to be making his debut. Kane Kessler-Hayden, who's coming on for just his 3rd appearance. And we're all going to see Omari Kellyman, who's an 18-year-old midfielder, come on for just his 5th appearance to sample this atmosphere, because Aston Villa, well, they've got a little bit of time to lick their wounds. They play Liverpool, but still, whilst they've secured a top 5 finish in the Premier League, they've still got work to do to try and secure a ticket to the Champions League for next season. 2-0 they trail. El Kaabi with both the goals. And now Durant hardly made much of an impact for Aston Villa. Disappointing in the second half. They have been, as McGinn. But
I have to say, Durant's behaviour since he came on has been appalling. All this gesticulating and shouting at his teammates. And again, he's going after the young lad, screaming at him to give him the ball. That's not what you need. That's not what the young players need. You just need encouragement rather than, bickering about things. And it's a sad way for Villa to go out, but I have to say, Olympiacos have done a number on them tonight.
Digne is one of the players coming off, so he will be replaced by Finlay Munro, making his debut, but in sad circumstances for Aston Villa. 3 times he's been an unused substitute this season. One of the other players to come off is Matty Cash, and Cash is off, and Bailey is the other player who's off. So Kessler-Hayden for Bailey and Cash for Kellyman. 4 minutes remain. But Olympiacos leading by 2-0. Mendilibar will be, the fact that he was given such an ovation as he wandered around in isolation ahead of the game, he won't have to buy a meal or a drink in Greece for some time if he stumbles across an Olympiacos supporter.
Well, if he wins it for life, the gratitude that these fans are showing the team and the coach is fantastic. I suppose they've been starved of European success. They're, superior most of the time domestically, but for them to reach this point in the history at this stage in 2024, absolutely brilliant for them and their fans.
The Aston Villa supporters are just getting a message that they're going to have to remain in the stadium. I'd let them out on the final whistle. There'll be no Olympiacos supporters leaving at the full time. They will want to soak up and savour this night for a long, long time. Founded in 1925, this will be the biggest accomplishment after a total of 355 European matches. They will talk about this night for many, many years to come, as the red and white scarves now are being held aloft in all sides of the Karaiskakis Stadium. Here is Douglas Luiz for Aston Villa. Can they get what would just be a consolation? Cross is blocked and behind it goes for a corner kick as Olympiacos lead 2-0.
I'm just looking at the crowd here rather than the game at the minute. It's just spectacular. They all jumping up and down with their scarves held aloft and singing their hearts out here at the minute. I know it's bitterly disappointing for Villa fans back home, but you got to pay tribute to Olympiacos tonight. They've been pretty good. Pretty good. They've done a really good professional job tonight. They've defended brilliantly at times and scored at the right times as well, and they've been so disciplined, and they've made life frustratingly difficult for Aston Villa tonight.
The Euro Leagues with Steve will follow after the 10 o'clock news here on 5 Live. With you through until 10:30 when Gordon Smart takes over. Olympiacos lead 2-0, corner to Villa, flicked on at the near post. Douglas Luiz tried to bundle it in at the far post. Break is on. Roddenay will come forward for Olympiacos. Duran took him out. Taken on by Fortounis. The referee has played the advantage and just holds on to the ball, but Monroe will try and win the ball back with his youthful exuberance, and it's a free kick to Olympiacos. And we are inside the last 60 seconds. You won't hear the shrill of the referee's whistle, but what you will hear will be a deafening roar to signal the fact that Olympiacos will be in the Europa Conference League final in Athens, just up the road, on the 29th of May. Masouras wins the ball in the midfield for Olympiacos, out towards that far side. Now they try and switch play. I think they'll be looking at El Kaabi as a Premier League side, to be looking at him maybe.
4.5. Did you say he got 31 goals this season?
With his 2 today, he's now scored 33 in 46 games.
He's been so impressive. How old is he in now?
He's 30 years of age, Moroccan international, 33 caps.
Go against him for the Premier League, but he has been so impressive. He can run, he can score goals, he can challenge in the air. He's led the line brilliantly in both the games, and he's been the match winner, or the tie winner I should say. 5 goals against Aston Villa. Yeah, I mean, he's a player.
Ole, ole, ole is being sung here in Greece. The scarves swirled around their heads, the flags flying. We're in stoppage time, not seeing how much stoppage time there will be. As El Kaabi is away again, he's looking for another hat-trick, and then he goes to ground with a challenge from Konsa just outside the area. Scored his first hat-trick last week. That would be some achievement. Back-to-back hat-tricks to put the gloss on what will be a historic night here in Piraeus for Olympiacos. Just waiting for the final whistle. 4 minutes of added on time, which we're now into. So 3 minutes remain. Atalanta 3, Marseille 0. We're looking at Atalanta and Bayer Leverkusen as a Europa League final in Dublin. Watkins with a turn. Still they work hard though, Olympiacos. That was Horta, and he was then just caught by Douglas Luiz, and it will be a free kick to Olympiacos. They've got another line of stewards making their way behind the goal towards our left-hand side. They're looking to try for a fortified wall of stewards to keep the supporters who look like they're ready for a pitch invasion. Some of them are poised, it would seem. The cameras are all trained as well, waiting for that moment. 2-0 they lead. Disappointment for Aston Villa. Unai Emery was saying about how difficult this challenge would be, the most difficult challenge his team have faced all season. And still they would hope to make it a very good season by clinching Champions League football, but there will be no silverware. 5 Live, remember, Saturday, Celtic Rangers, West Ham Luton, Nottingham Forest Chelsea, and on Sunday the Women's FA Cup final, Spurs Manchester United, and then at Old Trafford, Manchester United against Arsenal in the Premier League at 4:30. More live football to look forward to here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. But by my watch, there are 90 seconds remaining. I was going to say for the party to get started, but the party in some areas, I would imagine, has already begun. Unai Emery watching on. Mendilibar, as an effort is tipped over by Solakis. Ball played forward, and still he will not be beaten from that effort from Watkins.
Oh, it's a brilliant effort. Great ball in over the top from Torres, and Ollie Watkins, you know, a looping header, caught it perfectly. The keeper's made another fine save. You know, for a 21-year-old goalkeeper, I think he's been excellent tonight, I have to say. He's been so impressive, so agile. You know, he's led his defence brilliantly. He's come for crosses when needed to. Absolutely exceptional performance from the young man.
Watkins with the cross. By my watch, we are 30 seconds away. They have supporters in every corner of the world. They may well be listening to BBC Radio 5 Live. Here tonight, Olympiacos, the best supported team in Greece, and everybody is poised. Wouldn't be surprised if that's a message to say, please stay off the pitch, because this stadium is going to erupt very, very soon. 2-0 on the night, 6-2 on aggregate. A famous night in their 99-year history, and by my watch, the 4 minutes are up. Everybody wants to try and capture that moment. I wouldn't be surprised if even the press box, they start celebrating here. The referee has awarded a throw to Olympiacos. I think he's actually telling the players just to come over, is he?
Oh, that's it, Ian.
He's having a word.
That's it.
Because there is the final whistle. We might be 5 miles from Athens, but I wouldn't at all be surprised if the oldest city in the world is creaking to its very foundations. Wild celebrations in Piraeus. Olympiacos, for the first time in their 99-year history, are in a European final. Disappointment for Aston Villa. Their European odyssey that began in Edinburgh back in August, there will be no final chapter. They've lost by 2 goals to 0, and it's Olympiacos who can celebrate thanks to the 2 goals from El Khabi, 1 in each half.
Yeah, congratulations, Olympiacos. They've made history tonight. Mendilibar was right. It's not the biggest night in the history. That's yet to come. But they were very good on the night. Defended brilliantly when they needed to. Counter-attacked really well when they needed to, and saw the game out in the end very, very comfortably. And El Khabi had a match winner in Restos at centre half and Carver. I thought they were outstanding, and I thought little Hezzy in midfield had a great game. But what they did, Ian, was they did a number on Villa. You can see with Villa small steps in the right direction. If they make Champions League football next year, they're hoping to secure 4th place, then I think there'll be decent investment in the squad, because they're still a little bit late for where they want to get to. But yeah, it's been a great campaign for Villa, but they've just come up short against a very good side tonight.
Fireworks being let off outside the stadium, lighting up the Greece sky here, and the supporters have actually placed down their scarves, and the flashlights are out on the mobile phones. They're wanting to record this moment. What a night for Olympiacos. Finalists on the road to Athens, and they won't have to travel far, but they will pack out that stadium, that is for sure. But deserved winners, because the full-time score here in Piraeus, Olympiacos 2, Aston Villa 0.
A remarkable story for Olympiacos. They are the story tonight by a distance, and we're going to focus on them very shortly as they make their way into the final of the UEFA Conference League, where they will play Fiorentina on May the 29th. And as Ian was saying, they do it just down the road, in all places, Athens, for the final. Neil Lennon and Ian Dennis inside the stadium. Villa captain Rachel Corsie with us as well. From a Villa perspective, Rachel, there were teeth early on, but they just never felt in it.
Yeah, Steve, it just probably wasn't quite good enough, to be honest. And you know, they'll feel that the most. I think they've set their own standards for this season, and you could see that a lot of those players have had to play a lot of minutes, and that's not an excuse, it's just the reality. And you could just see how tired they were at the end. And I think they tried. I think they came out, great start, and probably a bit unfortunate to go behind. Maybe it was a little naive to be as expansive and go for it possibly right off the bat. You don't want to give a goal away in a game where you already know you're two behind within the first 10-15 minutes, and it then became probably a little too big an uphill battle. But they kept going until the end, and the second goal obviously is the sucker punch. But just in that final third, it just wasn't quite good enough. It just didn't quite fall for them in the moments when they could get themselves maybe back in the game, and they'll be really, really disappointed. But at the same time, they've had a fantastic season. They've 2 more games to go. They need to finish on the right note. They want to do that, and I'm sure the manager will pick them up. They'll get home, look after each other, look after themselves over the next few days, and they're going to have to find a way to then turn up at the weekend.
Ian, these Olympiacos celebrations are going to go in not just long into the night, but probably long into next week.
Well, it's just turned midnight here, so they're definitely going to go on into the early hours, that is for sure, as the entire coaching staff and the players have just walked up to the end to our left. That's where the ultras are, the hardcore supporters, the Gate 7 section. A flare has just been extinguished. They're clapping in unison. You've got red and white flags flying. There's a few bare-chested males as they're now throwing their fists with a deafening roar. And the Aston Villa fans can only watch in silence as I look away towards our right. There isn't one spectator, I don't think, who has left this stadium. Everybody just wants to be here to savour the moment. The first Greek side to reach a European final since Panathinaikos did so when they lost to Ajax 2-0 at Wembley in 1971. And now they're going to pose for a photo inside the 6-yard area in front of the goal with those supporters behind them that will go up inside this stadium, and one that will take pride of place as they can now prepare for that final.
Hopefully we're going to speak to Kostas Lianos again very, very shortly. I imagine it's very difficult to get anywhere inside that stadium at the minute because it's absolute chaos, but hopefully he'll be with us very...
I can tell you, Steve, he's next to me.
Oh,
he's
Kostas!
He's filming a selfie at the minute.
Oh, well, I mean, fair enough.
Can you hear the guy screaming in the background? That's Kostas.
I thought you were going to say that's me. Right, Neil, just before we bring him in then, for the Villa players and the Villa fans who've got to sit and watch all of this, ultimately, they lost the tie, and not long after that, it felt like they lost the discipline as well.
Yeah. I mean, they obviously felt the game had got away from them, the tie had got away from them, and there was a lot of bickering, a lot of gesticulating, and that can come from, frustration, tiredness, all those things. They've had a great season, as Rachel touched on. If they can secure 4th place, then build for the Champions League next year. But there's no doubt about it, they're an ambitious club, they've got ambitious owners. I think they will invest heavily in the squad in the summer. And it's just small steps in the right direction, or in the direction that they want to go through anyway, Steve. They just came unstuck tonight against a very good, well-organised side. You've got plenty of European savvy. And, this is Villa's first foray in Europe for quite a while. So, I mean, they've got to take the positives from it, but it was just maybe a tie too far for them tonight.
Steve, as the Olympiacos players are doing a lap of honour, Kostas is with us. He stopped. I've just had to tell the UK audience, Kostas, that you were filming a selfie. I don't know what you were saying on it, but you seem to be very excited.
Well, I mean, this is history. This is destiny. This is, I'm a Greek football fan. I don't get to see I don't get to enjoy a lot of historic moments, It's great. It was great watching Liverpool in Turkey in 2005, turning it all around against the AC Milan. That was a beautiful moment. It was so awesome watching Leicester doing the unthinkable and winning the Premier League in 2016, but I couldn't feel it. I had Euro 2004, now I got this one. The idea of seeing a Greek club in the final of a major European campaign, it's unthinkable. And if anyone said that in the middle of the season, they think you're insane. Olympiacos signed 16 players in the summer. 4 of them have been dropped. 2 of them have been sent out on loan. They brought 8 more in January, and only 3 of them are in the European list. There's no Gelson Martins, there's no Fran Navarro. And now they're going to a European final, and to many people, they are the favorites now. It's in Philadelphia, it's at Topapa Arena. You know what, Olympiacos have been trying to do this since 2010 when Vangelis Marinakis took over. That's what they were saying, we keep on dreaming. This is a team that has made it out of the group stages of a major European competition in 14 of their last 16 attempts, with a Greek budget, with a Greek owner, no Saudis, no Chinese, no Americans, no nothing. This is a European DNA right here. This is something that was in the works for many, many years. The players deserve it. They dealt with so much toxicity and negativity because of the start of, because of a poor season in the beginning of this campaign. They deserve this. The people of Olympiacos deserve it. The people of Piraeus deserve it. Enjoy the night.
Kostas, you just said that you've never been able to personally feel a night like this. So now you're there feeling it. How does it feel?
Well, I've been working all night. I still don't understand what really happened. I've been working since the morning. It's going to take a little while for me to completely understand what happened, to completely comprehend, to completely take it in. But there are so many people. Piraeus is such a working class city. People working from dusk till dawn. They work from the morning until the morning. They are family men. They're dreamers. They want a better future for their children. They are proud men and women. And now they got to see their pride and joy making it to the final of European competition. And this time they get to say this pride that we feel, we have a reason to feel it. Olympiacos are going to celebrate all night, but tomorrow morning you can bet that they're only going to be thinking about PAOK and Touba. Olympiacos have to win all three of their next derbies against PAOK, Panathinaikos and AEK to win the league. They're still in fourth place, and then when that's done, then Fiorentina will be the main focus.
Kostas, there's also the question of what this means and how important this is for Greek football in the round. Ian was just telling us just over 50 years since Greece has had a team in a major European final. Panathinaikos, just under 100 years, is the history of Olympiacos without a major European final. But most of the discourse about Greek football over the course of the last 5 years, 10 years, is almost always in a negative sense. We talk about the fan trouble that we've seen. We talk about games being abandoned, seasons being abandoned, football going behind closed doors. How important is it for Greece to have a Greek team in a major final in your own country?
Well, this is something that needs to be embraced. This needs to be embraced by football chiefs. I am not confident at all that this is going to be embraced by the powers that be. I'm not confident it's going to be embraced by the Greek FA, that is EPO. Olympiacos need to start by protecting what they've created just now. The bar has been dramatically raised, and this needs to be something that's going to build the next generation of Olympiacos. Olympiacos won the Youth League earlier this season. The youngsters of Olympiacos actually became the first Greek club to actually win a European title. Those kids cannot be lost. Those kids need to merge with this class of senior players. You cannot let that opportunity slide by. And I really hope this inspires all the other Greek clubs. I really hope this inspires everyone that has any power in Greek football. We cannot let this opportunity pass us by like we did in Euro 2004. The Greek national team, they haven't been in a major competition for over 10 years. 10 years. Greek football needs to learn from this. This needs to inspire everyone. I really want to see something great from every Greek club in Europe next season.
And for all the Premier League clubs out there, Kostas, who are wondering if they can get hold of Ayoub El Kabi's agent, what should we tell them? Number disconnected?
Well, Ayoub El Kabi's contract ends on June 30, actually. There's reports of an extra clause to renew for another year. El Kabi's 30 years old. He had the season of his life just now. He is the Europa Conference League's top goal scorer with 10 goals in 8 matches. He broke a record at Olympiacos because he scored 32 goals in a single campaign. He broke Alekos Alexandris' record of 31 goals from the 2000-2001 campaign. He has options right now. He can negotiate with Olympiacos. There is a fellow Moroccan called Youssef El Arabi, another man who eliminated a Premier League club in Arsenal back in 2020 in that Emirates game. He has a very heavy contract. He's leaving in June. El Kabi might say, hey, I want his contract. He's going to have options. He's definitely going to have agents at his doorstep, and he deserves it. He absolutely deserves it.
Kostas, it's been absolutely lovely having you with us over the course of the 2 legs. Thank you so much for being a part of the show.
Absolute honour. Thank you for having me. Over to you, Ian.
Absolute pleasure. Kostas Lianos, Greek football journalist who's been with us ahead of both of us. That's what it means. I mean, that there is everything you need to hear. And Rachel Corsie, just before we let you go, contract up in the summer for Ayoub El Kaabi, which we didn't know beforehand. There's going to be a lot of phone calls.
There will be. I mean, he's been very impressive, and sometimes you see it in one game, you think, well, is it a one-off? And I think tonight he's absolutely shown that it's not. You know, he's not had many chances across both games, and anything that he's had a little sniff of, he's absolutely put it away. And clinical finishing again, and he's ultimately got his side through to the final. But I think, to be honest, there's a lot of Olympiacos players who you'd have to say perform very well. Neil mentioned a few. I think Retsos and Carmo, for me, you know, they won't get much praise because they're centre-backs, and I'm biased, and we often get less spoken about less unless we've made a mistake. But I just felt they potentially, I thought before the time, might struggle with the pace, the dynamic nature of the Villa attack, and they were more than comfortable to deal with, whether it was a physical battle or it was, you know, balls in behind, down the sides. They were willing to take on anything that Villa could throw at them, and I thought between the two of them as a pairing, I thought they were very, very good. And there was a few others in there we could mention too, but really good performance from them. Sometimes you just have to say that the opposition, you know, tactically were very astute, and they tactically probably got it right in both legs, and the players were able to put the performance on and do as they were told and get the result. So I think credit to them.
And Ian and Neil, just to wrap it up, because Ian, you were saying in commentary what an extraordinary experience it is to be there. So I think just for both of you to wrap it up, you've seen a lot of European football over the years, how this night has compared, what it does to the senses being there.
Well, they created a terrific atmosphere hours before kick-off, and their support was unwavering. And they were it's a cliche, but they were the 12th man. You know, they could have created a nervousness, a tension inside the stadium, but they didn't, because Aston Villa did. You know, saw a lot of the ball early on, but they stayed with them, and then just throughout, they're renowned for having strong European form here with this support, and they just never ever wavered at all. It was created noise constantly, incessantly throughout, and. Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that, as I said in the commentary, the official allocation is 9,000 tickets for the final. It's going to be just over 27,000, but with the exception of those Fiorentina fans, it's going to feel like Piraeus has transported itself 5 miles up the road.
That's going to be the hottest ticket in Europe, isn't it?
Oh, isn't it just?
Olympiacos in a European final in Athens.
Yeah.
Well, if you speak to Kostas, he might be able to sort you out.
You could fill it 10 times, Steve.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, the support goes worldwide, but they're definitely the biggest club, the biggest supporter club in Greece, and to see the joy and the passion and what it means to them. I mean, they've literally waited all their lives for this. So this is an historic night, and it's a privilege to be here. I can only commiserate with Villa and their fans, but it was just maybe one side too far at this stage of the season.
I would just say as well, Steve, as more fireworks are being let off outside the stadium, when the Olympiacos players were doing a lap of honour, they got towards where we look towards our right, where the 1,600 Villa fans are. The Villa fans were applauding the Olympiacos players, which I thought was a really nice touch from the Villa supporters, full of grace. And then the Olympiacos fans acknowledged that, and then they were applauding each other. So at a time sometimes when, you know, you hear about always the bad thing about the way that some supporters can behave, a nice touch from the Villa fans, and that was acknowledged by the Greek supporters here inside this stadium. Yeah,
lovely to hear. Ian, Neil, thank you both very much indeed. Great stuff there. I mean, awful result, obviously, for Aston Villa. 2-0 on the night, 6-2 on aggregate, but a huge success story for Olympiacos. Rachel, thank you as well.
Thank you very much.
Villa and Scotland captain Rachel Corsie, who's been with us all evening. We have got another 17 minutes.